Hi, I'm back. I'll be reading from Our Daily Bread. January 3, Moving at the Speed of Jesus by Adam R. Holz. Lord, Martha said to Jesus, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. John chapter 11, verse 21. Lord, Martha said to Jesus, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. Read John chapter 11, verses 14 to 27. So then he told them plainly, Lazarus is dead, and for your sake I'm glad I was not there, so that you may believe, but let us go to him. Then Thomas, also known as Didymus, said to the rest of the disciples, let us also go, that we may die with him. Jesus comforts the sisters of Lazarus. On his arrival, Jesus found that Lazarus had already been in the tomb for 4 days. Now Bethany was less than 2 miles from Jerusalem, and many Jews had come to Martha and Mary to comfort them in the loss of their brother. When Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went out to meet him, but Mary stayed at home. Lord, Martha said to Jesus, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But I know that even now God will give you whatever you ask. Jesus said to her, your brother will rise again. Martha answered, I know he will rise again in the resurrection at the last day. Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live, even though they die, and whoever lives by believing in me will never die. Do you believe this? Yes, Lord, she replied, I believe that you are the Messiah, the Son of God, who is to come into the world. Bible in a year, Genesis chapters 7 to 9 and Matthew chapter 3. Genesis chapter 7. Chapter 7. The flood. The Lord said to Noah, go into the ship with your whole family, because I have seen that you alone are righteous among the people of today. Take with you 7 pairs of every kind of clean animal, a male and a female of each, and 1 pair of every kind of unclean animal, a male and a female. Also take 7 pairs of every kind, a bird, a male and a female of each, to preserve animal life all over the earth after the flood. In 7 days I will send rain to the earth for 40 days and 40 nights. I will wipe off the face of the earth every living creature that I have made. So Noah did everything that the Lord commanded him. Noah was 600 years old when the flood came to the earth. Noah, his sons, his wife, and his sons' wives went into the ship to escape the flood waters. Clean and unclean animals, birds, and creatures that crawl on the ground came to Noah to go into the ship in pairs, a male and female of each, as God had commanded Noah. 7 days later, the flood came on the earth. On the 17th day of the 2nd month of the 600th year of Noah's life, all the deep springs burst open, the sky opened, and rain came pouring down on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights. On that same day, Noah and his sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth, as well as Noah's wife and his 3 daughters-in-law, went into the ship. They had with them every type of wild animal, every type of domesticated animal, every type of creature that crawls on the earth, and every type of bird, every creature with wings. A pair of every living, breathing animal came to Noah to go into the ship, a male and a female of every animal went in, as God had commanded Noah. Then the Lord closed the door behind them. The flood continued for 40 days on the earth. The waters increased and lifted the ship so that it was high above the ground. As the waters rose and became very deep, the ship floated on top of the water. The water rose very high above the earth. It covered all the high mountains everywhere under the sky. It rose 23 feet above the mountaintops. Every creature that crawls on the earth died, including birds, domesticated and wild animals, and everything that swarms over the earth along with every human. Everything on dry land, every living, breathing creature died. Every living creature on the face of the earth was wiped out. Humans, domesticated animals, crawling creatures, and birds were wiped off the earth. Only Noah and those with him in the ship were left. The flood waters were on the earth for 150 days. God remembers Noah. Genesis chapter 8. God remembered Noah and all the wild and domesticated animals with him in the ship. So God made a wind blow over the earth, and the waters started to go down. The deep springs and the sky have been shut, and the rain has stopped pouring. The water began to recede from the land. At the end of 150 days, the water had decreased. On the 17th day of the 7th month, the ship came to rest in the mountains of Ararat. The waters kept decreasing until the 10th month. On the first day of the 10th month, the tops of the mountains appeared. After 40 more days, Noah opened the window he had made in the ship and sent out a raven. It kept flying back and forth. Until the water on the land had dried up. Next, he sent out a dove to see if the water was gone from the surface of the ground. The dove couldn't find a place to land because the water was still all over the earth. So it came back to Noah in the ship. He reached out and brought the dove back into the ship. He waited 7 more days and again sent the dove out of the ship. The dove came to him in the evening, and in its beak was a freshly plucked olive leaf. Then Noah knew that the water was gone from the earth. He waited 7 more days and sent out the dove again, but it never came back to him. By the first day of the first month of Noah's 601st year, the water on the land had dried up. Noah opened the top of the ship, looked out, and saw the surface of the ground. By the 27th day of the 2nd month, the land was dry. Then God spoke to Noah, "Come out of the ship with your wife, your sons, and your sons' wives. Bring out every animal that's with you, birds, domesticated animals, and every creature that crawls on the earth. Be fertile, increase in number, and spread over the earth." So Noah came out with his sons, his wife, and his sons' wives, every animal, crawling creature, and bird, everything that moves on the earth came out of the ship, one kind after another. Noah built an altar to the Lord. On it he made a burnt offering of each type of clean animal and clean bird. The Lord smelled the soothing aroma. He said to himself, "I will never again curse the ground because of humans, even though from birth their hearts are set on nothing but evil. I will never again kill every living creature as I have just done. As long as the earth exists, planting and harvesting, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night will never stop. God blesses Noah and his sons. Genesis chapter 9. God blessed Noah and his sons and said to them, "Be fruitful, increase in number, and fill the earth. All the wild animals and all the birds will fear you and be terrified of you. Every creature that crawls on the ground and all the fish in the sea have been put under your control. Everything that lives and moves will be your food. I give you green plants as food. I now give you everything else, but you are not to eat meat with blood in it. Blood is life. In addition, I will demand your blood for your life. I will demand it from any animal or from any person. I will demand the life of any person who kills another person. Whoever sheds human blood by humans, his blood will be shed, because in the image of God, God made humans. Be feudal and increase in number, spread over the earth and increase. And increase. God's promise, the sign of the rainbow. God also said to Noah and his sons, I am going to make my promise to you, your descendants, and every living thing that is with you, birds, domesticated animals, and all. The wild animals, all those that came out of the ship, every living thing on earth, I am making my promise to you. Never again will all life be killed by flood waters. Never again will there be a flood that destroys the earth. God said, this is the sign of the promise I am giving you, and every living being that is with you for generations to come. I will put my rainbow in the clouds to be a sign of my promise to the earth. Whenever I form clouds over the earth, a rainbow will appear in the clouds, then I will remember my promise to you and every living animal. Never again will water become a flood to destroy all life. Whenever the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will see it and remember my everlasting promise to every living animal on earth. So God said to Noah, this is the sign of the promise I am making to all life on earth. Noah curses Canaan, but blesses Shem and Japheth. Noah's sons who came out of the ship were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. These were Noah's 3 sons. From them, the whole earth was populated. Ham was the father of Canaan. Noah, a farmer, was the first person to plant a vineyard. He drank some wine, got drunk, and lay naked inside his tent. Ham, father Canaan, saw his father naked, so he went outside and told his 2 brothers Shem and Japheth, took a blanket and laid it over their shoulders. Then they walked in backwards and covered their father's naked body. They turned their faces away so that they didn't see their father naked. When Noah sobered up, he found out what his youngest son had done to him. So he said, Canaan is cursed. He will be the lowest slave to his brothers. Praise to God, the Lord of Shem. Canaan will be a slave. May God expand the territory of Japheth. May he live in the tents of Shem. Canaan will be his slave. Noah lived 350 years after the flood. Noah lived a total of 950 years. Then he died. Matthew chapter 3. John prepares the way. Mark chapter 1 verses 1 to 8. Luke chapter 3 verses 1 to 18. And John chapter 1 verses 19 to 28. Later, John the Baptist appeared in the desert of Judea. His message was, turn to God and change the way you think and act, because the kingdom of heaven is now. Isaiah the prophet spoke about this man when he said, a voice cries out in the desert, prepare the way for the Lord, make his path straight. John wore clothes made from camel's hair and had a leather belt around his waist. His diet consisted of locusts and wild honey. Jerusalem, all Judea, and the whole Jordan Valley went to him. As they confessed their sins, he baptized them in the Jordan River. But when he saw many Pharisees and Sadducees coming to be baptized, he said to them, you poisonous snakes, who showed you how to flee from God's coming anger? Do those things that prove you have turned to God and have changed the way you think and act. Don't think you can say Abraham is our ancestor. I can guarantee that God can raise up descendants for Abraham from these stones, the axes now ready to cut the roots of the trees. Any tree that doesn't produce good fruit will be cut down and thrown into a fire. I baptize you with water so that you will change the way you think and act. But the one who comes after me is more powerful than I. I am not worthy to remove his sandals. He will baptize you with the Holy Spirit and fire. His winnowing shovel is in his hand, and he will clean up his threshing floor. He will gather his wheat into a barn, but he will burn the husk in a fire that can never put out. Be put out. John baptizes Jesus, Mark chapter 1, verses 9 to 11, and Luke chapter 3, verses 21 to 22. Then Jesus appeared. He came from Galilee to the Jordan River to be baptized by John, but John tried to stop him and said, I need to be baptized by you. Why are you coming to me? Jesus answered him, This is the way it has to be now. This is the proper way to do everything that God requires of us. Then John gave in to him. After Jesus was baptized, he immediately came up from the water. Suddenly the heavens were opened, and he saw the Spirit of God coming down as a dove to him. Then a voice from heaven said, This is my Son, whom I love, my Son with whom I am well pleased. I am well pleased. Recently, my car needed work. The mechanic shop was closed a mile from my home, so I decided to just walk home. But as I shuffled along next to a bustling thoroughfare, I noticed something. Everyone else was moving so fast. This isn't rocket science. Cars go faster than pedestrians. Zip, zip, zip. As I ambled home, I had a realization. We are so used to moving fast all the time. Then, another realization. I often expect God to move just as quickly. I want His plans to fit my speedy timetable. When Jesus lived on earth, his seemingly slow pace sometimes disappointed his friends. In John chapter 11, Mary and Martha sent word that their brother Lazarus was sick. They knew Jesus could help, verses 1 to 3. But he arrived some 4 days later, verse 17. After Lazarus had died, Lord, Martha said to Jesus, If you had been here, my brother would not have died, verse 21. Translation, Jesus didn't move fast enough, but he had bigger plans, raising Lazarus from the dead, verses 38 to 44. Can you relate to Martha's disposition? I can. Sometimes I long for Jesus to move more quickly, to answer a prayer. Sometimes it seems like he's late, but Jesus' sovereign schedule is different from ours. He accomplishes his saving work on his timetable, not ours, and the ultimate outcome displays his glory and goodness in ways that are so much greater than our plans. When have you been disappointed that Jesus seemingly didn't answer a prayer, only to realize he was accomplishing something bigger? How did that realization affect your perception of God and His sovereignty? Father, sometimes I get so impatient. Help me to trust in your perfect timing and to cling to your goodness and faith. To learn more about the life of Christ, visit christianuniversity.org/NT111. Okay, that's all for now. Bye for now.